So a very good morning to all. It's already 9:35. We already have Prof. Asyadi here as our first speaker. Okay, so today, welcome to our webinar series organized by CAES. And today, we are going to have a sharing by our two main excellence researchers. The webinar title is Quadrupule Helix Model in Implementing Research at UTeM. So we have two speakers that are going to, researchers that are going to share with us their experience and also their strategies on how to become a very excellent professor, a very excellent researcher. The first researcher is Prof. IR Dr. Mohamad Asyadi Azam bin Mohamad Abid from FKP. Prof. Asyadi will share with us in the first slot from 9:35 until 10:35, and then it will be continued by Dr. Riduan in the second slot by 10:35 until 11:35. Okay. We have 27 participants. It seems that I hope more is coming because it seems that today there's an overlapping of so many programs. But we are giving the one who participates here. I believe that we will get a very good strategies and tips from both researchers. Okay, without further ado, let me introduce our professors, among the youngest professors in UTeM, but certainly an excellent researchers as well. So we have lots to learn and a lot to be shared by Prof. IR Dr. Mohamad Asyadi. Prof. Asyadi joined UTeM in when, Prof. Asyadi? In
2006.
2006, okay. And he received his academic qualification is the Bachelor and Master from Shibora Institute of Technology, and received his PhD in 2011 from Japan Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. But sorry, I cannot converse in Japanese this morning. But definitely, Prof. Asyadi is a fluent Japanese. He can speak in Japanese. Okay, in Japan. So here, he got a lot of teaching experience as well as postgraduate supervision, as well as a list of grants and also papers with H index 20. Is it, Prof. Asyadi?
Google Scholar 20, ya betul.
Oh, okay. So later on, we will hear a lot from Prof. Asyadi, and we hope that with this, we as a researchers can learn on how to do research efficiently and to become a prominent researcher based on our scholarship in research. Okay, without further ado, I invite Prof. Asyadi to start the sharing.
Okay, thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Jariah. A very good morning to all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi. Without any further ado, saya akan start saya punya sharing pagi ini. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Allahumma iftah 'alaina hikmataka wanshur 'alaina min hadaini rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Baiklah, dengan rasa yang penuh humble, saya share sedikit berkaitan dengan a quadruple helix model in implementing research at UTeM with a few examples. So I focus the examples into three: grant management, journal publication, and product innovation towards commercialization. Before that, these are the slides outlines. Okay, saya akan approach, I will introduce on the quadruple helix, number 1 until number 6. So first, and then other than that, at the second part of my talk will be on the extra focus on tips in terms of grant management, journal, and product innovation, including the funds, etc. So I'm using the QH adaptation at UTeM for my own experiences yang ada for the past, I would say 14 years time, including that includes my first attachment or my first career started in UTeM back in 2006. So what is quadruple helix model? Kita selalu dengar, cumanya mungkin kurang clear. Quite ditekankan oleh Mohd as well as KPT. So QH is a model of innovation. Model of innovation reflects in many ways several features common to new thinking in innovation process and innovation policy. So the policies have been confronted by a multitude of pressures to change. Some of these originated from external developments and some are from internal policy issues. So other than that, national or our country responses to the challenges include both structural and behavioral renewals in innovation policies. And importantly, an overall development trend is that the dominant innovation policy model based on a linear view yang sedia ada setakat ni, and focus on science push or engineering push and supply-driven high technology policy is enhanced and complemented by a new and broader approach than before. So it is not a very well established concept or model. Previously, we have triple helix model or triple helix concept. It describes spiral-shaped innovation, cooperation between firms or companies, universities, and public organizations. This is government for public organization. The concept tries to capture the multiple reciprocal relationships of different innovation actors ataupun players at different points of innovation process. So in QH adds another helix and actor group to the TH innovation or TH cooperation model. So instead of triple, ada 4. There will be 4 in QH, in quadruple helix, to the direct definition. So this is the theoretical framework. Saya nak share penting perkara ni sebab kadang-kadang ditekankan dalam permohonan grant dan sebagainya. Apakah yang dimaksudkan dengan quadruple helix? Kalau tak faham, a bit difficult untuk kita capture apa yang diperlukan. What is the needs of the fundings and grants? So we have organization culture, we have commitment towards open innovation. Dia tak sebut research, dia sebut innovation dahulu. Tapi dia akan merangkumi semua lah. So in quadruple helix, there will be government, industry, academia or academics, and then the society. Ini tambahan baru, society. So why a QH approach? So previously, TH describes the interaction between public sector, academia, and industry. Tapi citizens or end users are left to the role of passive recipients, consumers, or end users who assimilate the products and services developed. No involvement of citizens might lead to, number 1, products and services will not be used, tidak akan digunakan. Lack of transparency, semua nak berahsia dan sebagainya. So tak transparent. Innovators and end users do not understand each other. You tak faham dia tak faham kita dan sebagainya. End up frustration and technical innovation instead of social innovation. So dia lebih bersifat teknikal. Macam kadang-kadang kita pergi pitching dekat kementerian contohnya. Kita pergi pitching nak minta duit 100,000. Lebih kepada bahasa mudahnya shop sendirilah. Cerita pasal lab, cerita pasal material, cerita pasal design, processes dan sebagainya. Tapi you lupakan citizens ataupun end users ataupun communities. So tak nampak the element of social innovation. So itu pentingnya. Kenapa perlu ada involvement of citizens? So by using this model, it will be user-oriented innovations. Ini juga sama dengan maksudnya translational research. Kita melibatkan citizens ataupun communities. Ini gambar ataupun figure, the image of schematic of Quadrupule Helix model. So we have government as well, KPT ke, MOSTI ke, whatever ministries yang ada. We have industry, SME, multinational player dan sebagainya. We are here, academia, and then we have citizen. So saling berkait di antara satu sama lain. Okay, connecting to each other. And who are the QH actors? Saya dah sebut tadi yang 3 yang pertama, dah tambah juga dengan citizen. So ini definition lah, basically what are the Quadrupule Helix actors. Public authorities can be government and regional development agencies and policy makers, as well as formal healthcare providers in some countries. Industry can consist of businesses, business yang melibatkan business, jual beli, ada ROI dan sebagainya. Academia, if it's us, can be universities or research and development bodies, SIRIM, Agensi Nuklear Malaysia, MINT, apa lagi MIMOS dan sebagainya. And citizen is the involvement of 2 or 3 different representatives, the end user, the informal caregivers, who are usually relatives, also known as family carers, voluntary organizations, and volunteers. Then move to the next one, methods. What are the methods? QH model is suitable for a certain situation which depends on various characteristics of innovation activity. For example, the aims, the context, and the initiator or owner of the innovation process or processes. In different stages, different methods may be chosen on how to involve the QH actors in the innovation process. So, it is important to determine the starting point. Penting, iaitu yang pentingnya. What do you want to achieve? Apa yang kita nak? Do you already have an idea to test or to examine new ideas based on the end user's needs? When you know the starting point, you can determine the suitable method. So, sebenarnya kalau kita betul-betul fokus kepada research, transnational research in specific, you akan relate kepada semua. You minta fund, you minta dekat KPT for example, ataupun MOSTI. Lepas tu, you deal with industry, with industrial project yang boleh menjana perniagaan ataupun business. And then, at the same time, you are focusing on problem occurred or incurred in the communities ataupun citizens. Right? And you are the academia. So, actually, kalau betul-betul fokus, you akan dapat these 4 actors in your QH model. Alright, ni saya tak perlu baca lah. Nanti saya share slide ni. So, interaction. How is the interaction of the QH actors? How can or should the QH actors interact to enhance innovation? It depends on various characteristics, and involvement of actors varies that with what you want to achieve. To increase the success of the collaboration, it is important to define which are the specific QH stakeholders. You need to understand your stakeholders or pemegang taruh that should be involved, and to make sure all QH actors are involved, motivated, and have an open mind. Kita kena terbuka, bersifat terbuka. Throughout any one important project, and throughout the project, one important task is that to examine how the QH actors cooperate in their specific context and innovation process. Macam saya sebut tadi, ada 4 characters ataupun actors yang kita perlu libat. So kalau you fokus betul-betul, one may cooperate to each other. Okay, industri akan cooperate dengan citizen, kita akan cooperate dengan public authorities dan sebagainya. Jadi, what is in Malaysia? So we have MOSTI policy, National Policy on Science, Technology and Innovation, NPSTI 2013 until 2020. Initiatives to bring all 4 players or 4 actors, Quadrupule Helix, government, academia, industry and people, closer together have to be started by the government as a close working relationship. So, bila diperkenalkan, it's actually started, Quadrupule Helix started in 2013-14 something. And bila diwujudkan, bila digunakan quadruple helix model ini, a linear and top-down approach is no longer relevant. Okay, a linear and top-down approach is no longer relevant since it does not have the participation of consumers, which is only focusing on triple helix model, and citizens, which is a new component of the quadruple helix approach. Then what about KPT ataupun Kementerian Pengajian Tinggi? So, telah dinyatakan dengan jelas dalam garis panduan skim geran penyelidikan strategik translational research. Other than the FRGS, kalau you tengok pada PRGS, TRGS, LRGS, semuanya memerlukan transnational research. Okay, ini diwujudkan pada tahun ini, tahun 2020 awal tahun. So, ada dinyatakan falsafah, iaitu perkongsian kerjasama yang menggabungkan lingkaran 4 pihak yang terdiri daripada akademia. Saya ulangkan balik, industri, kerajaan dan komuniti. Tujuan untuk mempercepatkan pengomersialan idea yang memenuhi kehendak pasaran semasa. Di bawah lonjakan 7 ekosistem inovasi, tujuan yang lebih besar lagi, bila ada transnational research, ia merupakan skim geran yang memfokus kepada penyelidikan dan penghasilkan output dan outcome berimpak kepada those actors, akan beri impak yang besar, akan membantu NKEA atau bidang ekonomi utama negara dan sebagainya. So itu adalah sedikit sebanyak berkaitan dengan definition or the contents of the quadruple helix model, as well as what have been implemented in Malaysia. So ini part yang banyak sikit, second part. I will discuss on the examples of research implementation through this model, adaptation at UTeM, which is my experience, my own experience. Saya akan touch yang pertama on the grant management. Saya ada 3 example saya sebut tadi, grant management, journal publication, as well as innovation towards commercialization. So apa yang you kena buat? Yang pertama, kita akan secure ataupun dapatkan, apply before that, the intended grant. And then we need to plan very carefully and wisely before and during we get the grant. And then set up your team. You need to identify your researchers, students as well. Mungkin juga RA ataupun GRA. Train them with your own expertise. You need to follow your milestones and research activities. Okay, itu penting. You dah dapat, you kena tengok balik you punya milestones, you kena tengok balik you punya research activities. Itu yang penting lah. So in the case of implementation ada 4, 5 sampai 8, number 5 and number 8. Follow your milestones and research activities saya dah sebut. You kena tengok berulang-ulang kali, even every month you punya grant tu. And then this is important ataupun critical part. Number 6, financial management. You need to check your finance balance. Finance balance, baki vote Baki, sekali saya tunjuk dia punya detail. Baki vote frequently, at least 1 time per month. Kalau boleh seminggu sekali, lagi bagus. Kadang-kadang kita tak perasan. Kadang-kadang gaji dibayar, tapi dia tolak ke tidak gaji GRA kita dan sebagainya. Beli barang, LO, bila LO keluar, biasanya dia akan tolak daripada you punya baki grant lah. And then we have perfect reporting or progress report. Ada satu lah cerita yang kurang seronok lah. Kita pernah kena penalize kita punya staff tak dapat, mungkin ada hal yang tidak dapat dielakkan, tak dapat present progress report presentation dengan KPT. Masa tu memang very last minute, biasalah Mohd atau KPT dia akan panggil last minute. Kadang-kadang they will come to your lab untuk buat audit ataupun nak tengok you punya progress report. Dia nak tengok apa yang you beli tu ada ke tidak. Itu Mohd punya style. KPT biasa kita kena pergi sana, kita kena pergi Putrajaya. So ini juga termasuk what has been implemented by CRIM, PJP grant for example, PJP high impact for example. 6 bulan sekali sekarang ni saya tahu. So you kena follow, you kena ada perfect reporting, bukan tipu-tipu. Kalau you target 30% tapi you dapat only 10%, tak ada masalah. You cerita, tapi you kena cerita masalah you apa. And what are the solutions to the problem. Okay, itu penting, progress report reporting. Then you need to achieve your output. If possible, 100% lah. So kalau tak dapat, apa dia punya countermeasure so that you boleh fulfill the requirement of the grant ataupun KPT ataupun requirement by the Mohd ataupun whatever grants, industrial grant as well. Then So congratulations, kita baru dapat keputusan FRGS. Alhamdulillah. You have a new grant. You have a grant. Ataupun you have a new grant. You have added a grant for yourself. So now what? Yes, help. I need help. Apa yang diperlukan? So bila you dah dapat grant, when you achieve ataupun you got your grant, banyak perkara yang kadang-kadang researchers di UTeM especially terlepas pandang. Apa implication dia? Inilah implication dia, iaitu grants usage not good, duit tak habis. Kadang-kadang you kena tengok every single cent. Kalau boleh, jangan tinggal 10 sen, jangan tinggal 1 sen pun dalam grant you. Kalau you betul-betul manage lah. And following the rules and regulations by kewangan krim dan sebagainya. Then, the first steps among them adalah applying for funding is step 1, but not the end of the process. Receiving an award or receiving a grant is next. Yay. Of course, kita akan seronok, alhamdulillah, sujud syukur, sunat syukur dan sebagainya. And then we need to learn how to manage the administrative aspects of your funded project. It is also next. And what are the rules? To whom do you go to ask for guidance? What are my responsibilities as principal investigator and project member? Ingat, not only focusing on PI ataupun principal investigator, but also the project member. Kadang-kadang kita project member ni macam boncengan gratis. Dapat, diam. Tapi dengan pangkat, claim. That is not nice lah. So, you kena plan betul-betul. That's why sekarang ni, kalau grant KPK atau mesti dia tanya. Kalau saya apply grant, saya letak Professor A, what is his responsibility, for example. Kita kena detail up. Then you kena follow lah. Jangan setakat tulis sahaja. Make sure project members memainkan peranan yang penting dalam perjalanan grant ataupun grant implementation. And before applying, please understand the program guidelines ataupun the grant guidelines. They usually contain the basic rules or references or where to find the rules for administering your project. Cream staff, kita dah ada penambahbaikan yang ketara untuk staff sokongan di cream, pegawai dan sebagainya. They will work closely with you at this stage before applying and during the implementation of the grant and can assist in interpreting guidelines. They are the one yang sepatutnya expert dalam grant guidelines. So kalau di CRIM kita ada Encik Azman, kita ada pengarah, timbalan pengarah of course, kita ada Encik Nizam Bidin for example. Kewangan kita ada Puan Siti Fatimah, Nuralisa dan beberapa ramai lagi yang saya tak sebutkan di sini lah. So federal agencies ataupun governments usually have their own guidelines as well as a requirement to adhere to general federal guidelines for grants administration. Of course, KPT punya grant lain. MITI ada grant MITI pun grant pun lain. Kalau you tengok pada MOSTI punya grant lain pula. Kalau you pergi kepada MTDC for example ataupun CRES lain. You kena faham setiap every single guidelines for the grants. Industrial ataupun corporate sponsors have guidance incorporated into a research agreement. Ini you kena ambil masa sikit, kena liaise dengan pejabat undang-undang, legal department ataupun legal office to construct your MOA. Okay. When funding is received, review the documentation carefully. Tengok, dapat agreement, tengok balik proposal. Other funders have various types of award documents from a letter to a multi-page agreement with several terms and conditions. So banyak jenis. So the funds are ready to spend. Now what? Sekarang you dah dapat. Sekarang ni for FRGS for example, you are in the process of reviewing the proposal, revising the proposal. So mungkin after 1 month you dah start ataupun paling lambat pun 1 Januari 2021. So apa yang you kena buat? Yang pertama again, review the guidelines, review the proposal. So what did you say that you will do? You kena tengok balik apa janji-janji you. And legal documentation carefully secara berhati-hati. So di UTeM kita ada jurist for managing financial data. So you buka jurist, bawah research finance tu ada baki vote dan sebagainya. You buka pada baki vote and then you pilih. Kalau FRGS lah, national grant. Sini national, kategori FRGS, year of grant 2020 for example. Dia akan keluar untuk list yang you dapat. Yang you dapat, so mungkin ada yang tak pernah lah. Yang you dapat sama ada you principal investigator ataupun you co-researcher. Boleh tengok. Ini pun tempat yang sesuai untuk you update you punya CV. Aku ni ada grant share dengan orang tapi tak ada pula dalam list aku ni. So you kena tengok dekat sini. Alright. And then we have, bila you buka baki vote tu, you boleh, you klik dekat ni bahagian report ni, dia akan keluar baki vote macam ni. Boleh convert to PDF as well. So ini yang saya buat, you kena selalu update you punya baki vote. So nampak pergerakan dia. Ini grant ni actually achieve 2018, kick off in 2019, grant PRJS, KPT, Alhamdulillah. Akan habis dalam bulan 3. So ini baki yang saya ada lah. So for example, kita tengok kita fokus pada baki peruntukan sebenar. Gaji dan upahan habis dah lebih bayar RA. Kena faham ni. So you kena faham ni. Vote ni you kena faham. Okay, please you kena faham. And then under 20,000, vote 20,000. Terms you kena faham. Travel dan perjalanan dan sara hidup 3-4 ribu. Sebab tak boleh jalan PKP. Banyak trip saya sangkut. Overseas ada. Local domestic trip pun ada. Macam-macam termasuklah sewaan, bahan makanan, minuman. Okey, ini yang penting. 26,000 dekat sini, 26,000. Okey, kita biasa 27. Asal macam saya ni ada 80,000. Banyak nak pakai duit untuk beli materials dan variables yang diperlukan. So baki ada 12,000. Tapi insyaAllah, seminggu 2 ni habis. Dah settle dah. Ada special service 39,000, asset dan sebagainya. So you kena fokus kat sini. Kena selalu update. So kalau you dapat info ataupun email dari, you ada grant, dapat email daripada TDP ke daripada Center of Excellence mengatakan you tak pakai duit. So you tengok, you upload ataupun you download this baki vote, you tengok. Kalau betul dia cakap konsisten tak ada masalah. Tapi kalau tak konsisten, you kena beritahu lah. So actually saya dah guna banyak ni. So dalam borang progress report, you kena tulis berapa yang you dah pakai. Macam saya ni originally 145 kalau tak silap, 145K. So dah tinggal 15,000, 16,000 sahaja. So ada baki. So nampaklah progress berapa persen dan sebagainya. That's it. So we need to be proactive. You need to verify budget in total and by votes. Review expenditures monthly. What are the missing expenses? Monthly expenses that do not belong. Kadang-kadang ada you tulis dalam proposal tapi sebenarnya you tak pakai. And then you kena review time to time. Kalau boleh pakai semua lah. So you kena justify. Kalau beli barang tak ada dalam list, you kena justify dan sebagainya. Monitor remaining balances by vote and in total. Remaining balance macam tadi lah. Subtract indirect cost balance from available balance for true remaining balance available. So what happens if I don't follow the rules, either accidentally or on purpose? All sponsored projects are subject to audit by various entities. Macam-macam entiti sekarang paling dahsyat sekali SPRM lah ataupun MACC. A determination of non-compliance can result in fines, denda, repayment of funds, pulang balik duit, debarment or sometimes jail. Bila you dah masuk jail, kerja kena buang, projek habis macam tu, rezeki anak-anak macam mana dan sebagainya, banyak you kena fikir. And it is depending on the infraction. So be careful on the usage. Saya ada pengalaman dapat AP59, so you kena selalu berbincang. You tak faham, you tak clear kenapa krim macam ni, kenapa keuangan macam ni. Jumpa dengan pegawai Puan Siti Fatimah, tak clear juga. Jumpa dengan geng-geng di pejabat bendahari. Oh, maybe up to Encik Khairul for example. You kena clear so that you faham. Kalau then you kena ada strategi. You tak dapat buat macam ni, saya tak boleh beli, saya tak boleh beli barang berperingkat-peringkat, saya kena beli terus. So you kena plan. You kena tengok. Sekarang ni kalau you ada, for example, vote 27,000, you have, let's say you ada 50,000. 50,000 will be sebut harga PTJ. Total 50,000, tapi you plan first year 20,000, second year 20 plus 10 for example. Maknanya nampak sebenarnya benari dah nampak dah, you tak nak pakai sebut harga PTJ, proses birokrasi dan sebagainya, all those processes yang panjang dan sebagainya you nak elakkan. Tapi dia akan tengok, kalau ada keperluan memang kenapa you buat macam tu, you kena justify dalam you punya proposal yang original. So kalau this is the time untuk you revise atau review, you kena check benda tu semua. Kalau tidak, daripada awal isi borang siap-siap, BEN 3, BEN 1, BEN 2, settlekan siap-siap. Kalau tak, you akan susah di kemudian hari. Audit mereka pun takut dengan, mereka perisau juga dengan audit dan sebagainya lah. So that is on keuangan. Parting tips, sedikit several tips. And then you need to know your guidelines and project objectives. Tengok balik, sentiasa tengok objektif, milestone, research activities. Look over grants management manual. Kita ada manual, baru ni CRIM ada keluarkan. Garis panduan penyelidikan, tengok balik. Familiarize yourself with general rules and processes. When in doubt, talk to CRIM. Cik Azman ada, sekarang ni kita ada Puan Izwani, kalau tak silap. Dulu yang jadi kenaikan pangkat, sekarang dia jadi CRIM. Communicate with kewangan CRIM. Ramai CRIM tu, bincang dengan diorang. So ada kena, itu pun strategi juga. Macam mana you nak liaise dengan staf kewangan dan sebagainya. So and then a bit apart from that, you need to always update your CV. Dapat grant, tak kira lah you project member ataupun project leader ataupun you are the co-researcher, tolong prepare satu under the project dan grant penyelidikan 2007. Ini UTeM ni format So you kena letakkan role, you kena letak status, amount, funded by, year, title dan sebagainya. So macam saya nak memudahkan keadaan untuk kira macam yang ada dalam kotak ni, in this box, in this square box ni, you kena letak list down kan project leader berapa amount yang you pernah dapat. Starting from your immediately after you started your career as a academic. Atau before that mungkin R&D development, R&D researcher in certain institute or agencies, you kena letakkan project leader berapa, co-researcher berapa, total berapa, and USD berapa. Sebab inilah antara soalan glamour yang pensyarah tak boleh jawab, cannot answer during interview session, during kenaikan pangkat. Memang ada soalan ni. So, you kena prepare. You buatlah satu Excel, macam saya buat satu Excel file. I created one Excel file, list down kan, number one, on the left hand side, project leader, how much? Amount tu yang penting. And then co-researcher berapa? So kadang-kadang ada juga ketika dan masanya you punya kawan ni lantik you jadi co-researcher, tapi you tak sedar. Itu yang kena tengok balik back to URIS system tadi. So kalau tak ada, kalau betul ada ataupun you tengok dalam ECV, kalau you tengok staff directory, tekan my ECV tu, dia akan keluar list of grants yang you ada. Ni grant siapa ni? So kalau ada berlaku, you contact dengan CRIM, tanya siapa dia punya principal ataupun project leader. And then you tanya siapa, katakanlah let's say PM Jariah punya, you call PM Jariah, PM Jariah you dapat grant ada nama saya Alhamdulillah, terima kasih, apa yang saya boleh bantu, apa yang saya boleh contribute dan sebagainya. So you kena communicate dengan dia, kalau ada surat bagi sesuatu ni, nak apply naik pangkat ni, contohnya macam tu lah, ataupun saya nak update saya punya CV ni, so you kena sentiasa communicate. Kadang-kadang you tak tahu, CRIM ada pegang semua dokumen. So tadi saya nampak ada soalan, macam mana you define you punya co-researcher punya amount in Malaysia ringgit, kalau saya tak silap, dekat ujung nanti kita akan bincang balik. Co-researcher ni sama lah, you tahu you punya co-researcher amount, lepas tu you letakkan amount dia, you kira lah, calculator ke, you nak pakai Excel ke, direct calculation, tak ada masalah. Total ni, ini saya tengok money converter as of mungkin past one week before. So tak sampai 1 million USD. So you kena letak, you kena benchmark yourself dengan other researchers in other institutions. RU for example. Adakah you layak menjadi Profesor Madya di IPTA Malaysia? Sama tak you dengan orang lain? You kena compare. So, untuk kenaikan pangkat Profesor Madya dan ke atas, cadangan saya, tip saya, strategi saya, at least you ada total project amount at least 1 million ringgit Malaysia. Okay, so kadang-kadang ada juga top management kita pun very smart, they are very smart. Dia tengok project itu, you kena letakkan, you kena statekan project leader berapa, co-researcher berapa. Kalau project leader you 10,000, co-researcher 990,000, so what they will say. So you faham lah dia punya consequences. Tapi kalau you tak pernah buat, better you buat. So dia nampak, so you telus, you transparent dan sebagainya. Always update your CV. So I move to the next example. Saya rasa saya dah pukul 10. Okay, saya sedikit lambat. I'm targeting one slide per minute, one minute per slide. So journal publication, ini isu yang sangat besar. Very big issue in UTeM. It's your hakiki responsibility. It's the barakah of your salary, your income as a university lecturer. You are not school teacher, nor polytechnic, college community, KV lecturer. Even poly lecturer pun dah kena publish sekarang ni. So it's your hakiki responsibility. Jangan duk teaching saja. Teaching is penting, tapi you need to understand the concept of hakiki responsibility. It is in the spirit of supporting UTeM and contribution to Malaysia. Dia selalu sebut sebagai, kita selalu sebut tuah, kita selalu sebut RISE, konsep RISE, konsep tunai dan sebagainya. So kena faham macam mana kita nak contribute to UTeM, contribute to Malaysia as well. You need to plan very carefully and wisely. Every single steps in Quadrupule Helix model, you kena plan carefully and wisely. Set up your team, the researchers, co-researchers, students, RA, and train them. Ethics you kena tengok. Ramai yang terlepas pandang, walaupun very high prolific ataupun prolific ataupun prominent researchers, buat kesilapan dalam ethics ni. Avoid plagiarism. Itu biasa, tak ada masalah. Yang ni masalah. Kita tak frequently check Google Scholar, Scopus, Researcher ID ataupun Publons, ResearchGate. You kena tengok selalu as a researcher. Nanti saya akan explain lah in detail. Publish your highly potential PSM project results. So kalau you plan daripada awal, you ada grant ataupun tidak, basically PSM will be funded by faculty budget. You ada duit sebenarnya, you boleh buat something. So, you boleh publish daripada PSM project. So nak tahu details, JMT, Journal FKP tu, JMT akan buat talk, I think for the next 1 month or 2 months time. Boleh join nanti. Aim high. Maksudnya, you go for Q1 first. Kalau you rasa paper you very highly ataupun very good in terms of quality, you try Q1 first. Why? This is for the quality evaluation. So you boleh tahu. Memanglah setengah-setengah jurnal bila you submit Q1 ni, dia reject on the spot tanpa sebarang reason. Itu biasa. Rejection dalam publication lumrah, perkara biasa. Okay? And then kalau boleh ada kesempatan write ataupun produce review paper. This is actually after at least 3 years. At least 3 to 5 years in the field. So ini kalau nak buat special 2 hour session. Saya ada tips dan hint macam mana nak publish review paper dan sebagainya. So that will be this all will be the outlines for in particular in specific on the journal publication. So sequence of writing, kadang-kadang kita terlepas pandang. You boleh bincang dengan you punya students ataupun you punya team. Likewise, PhD and master thesis start with outlines, especially on the main contents. Bukan abstract, bukan title, bukan references, tapi outlines. Outlines dulu. Normally, kita ada dekat sini lah. Title sampai references. But actually, should consist of main contents or major findings, 3 or 4. Subsections from the main findings, 3 or 4. So, what do you do first? Kita ada yang ni, 1 sampai 9. What do you do first? Start with figures. In reverse order, bila you publish, you tulis paper, petang ni pun ada talk PM Syukur, FKP juga, boleh join. Itu untuk high impact journal publication, lebih kurang sama juga cerita dia nanti. You start with figures tables, result discussion, conclusion nombor 3, baru masuk experimental. Sama juga macam penulisan PSM report, FYP report, master thesis, PhD thesis, lebih kurang sama, tak ada masalah. And then baru masuk introduction, baru masuk list of references, second last abstract, last kali title. That's why kalau semalam saya kebetulan baru jadi pengurusi chairman untuk Viva PhD student, memang kita bincangkan, kalau saya jadi chairman, saya akan bincangkan yang terakhir sekali will be 2 items. Two topics ataupun two items, abstract and title. Itu yang last. Okay? So you start with figures and always discuss with your team. Kalau you ada postdoc. Kalau you ada master student, PhD student, FYP students, RA, co-researchers dalam team, mentor, mentee, semua, these are all your team ataupun team members. Please provide a smart way of data presentation. Saya ambil sedikit saja, saya tak ambil semua. I focus on results and discussion, yang kelemahan kebanyakan penulis di Malaysia ni, for example. So, result presentation, this is maybe FYP project, okay? Wrong approach, you separated them into 3 figures. Tapi, correct approach, you combine ke dalam satu figures. Ada label ataupun legends yang sesuai. Figures cantik, correct approach, dia akan berikan hasil yang memuaskan. Then, common errors, kadang-kadang kita selalu combining results and discussion in one paragraph. What are the common problems? We don't know which one is the result. Ataupun panel ataupun reviewer don't know which one is the result, which one is discussion. Difficult to differentiate the results or references ataupun literatures ataupun citations, kita tak sure. Many unsupported statement, speculation and assumption. So, solution, separate them. Divide them into 2 paragraphs, for example. Formula for result and discussion, simple. 1 figure, 2 paragraphs. Okay, 1F plus 2P. Figures ataupun there will be the data. 1F ni data will be image, graph, picture, plots dan sebagainya. Paragraph 1, you focus on the result. What are you seeing on the figure, image? What can you see? What are the numbers? What are the behaviors? What are the patterns? Itu adalah result. Paragraph 2 is the discussion. Why is it happening? What is the fundamental science behind them? What is the theory behind them? Reasoning, comparison, that is all under discussion part. So 1F, 2P, ingat separate. Termasuklah FYP report, termasuklah master thesis by research or by top course, or even PhD thesis, you boleh divide. That's why either you separate the chapter as well, ataupun or you buat dalam bentuk ni, combinekan chapter 4 result discussion, tapi you separate, ada gambar, paragraph. Tapi ingat figure dekat bawah. Okay, this is a motivation. Saya ngam-ngam 38 minit sekarang ni. Saya nak habiskan, nak cepatkan sikit. Ini just go through. This is a motivation to all. Kita kadang-kadang kita dapat 2 orang minimum. 4 students for example from only a FYP project. You actually boleh publish. You boleh publish daripada FYP project kalau you betul-betul strategize, you plan, you work wisely, focus, okay, consistent dan sebagainya. So ini adalah daripada student saya terus susun ikut turutan in sequence of year publish. Right, ini bantuan saya ingat PM Nur Rahman dalam ni, ini jurnal dia. Boleh publish kalau berminat, saya elan sikit PM Nur Rahman kena belanja saya. So kita ada jurnal, tengok quartile dia. So saya ingat aim high. Kena reject, pergi kat bawah. Kena reject, ini macam contoh yang second ni. Yang second ni saya publish, saya submitted to 3 different Q1 journals. Semua rejected but with reasons ataupun with comments. Itu yang kita nak. So kita repair, kita try yang tempat lain. Kita repair, tapi tak boleh lah in parallel lah. Kena sekali submission, sekali ni. Semalam pun ada very good talk from Dr. Juoi Chuan daripada UTeM pergi migrate pergi Australia tu. Very good talk. So aim high lah. So ini satu student. Tapi kalau you tengok FYP year, contoh macam ni, Julian ni graduated 2017 atau 2018. Dia cohort 2017 punya PSM. After 3 years publish, tak adalah ambil masa yang cepat. Kemudian engineering failure analysis Q1, Suzy Sukarti ni, corrosion. 2013 graduated. This is MH. Actually this is not FYP, not PSM, tapi ini adalah master top course. 1 semester je eksperimen. You kena ingat, 1 semester saja eksperimen. So berjaya, tapi selepas 7 tahun, of course ada cara dia lah. Uzaifa 2015. Lepas tu 2019 saya senyap sikit, ada macam masalah kesihatan dan sebagainya. So 2018 publish, ini semua student yang lama-lama. Salmi graduated 2014-15, published 2017. JMT, Farizul, Yu Weng Tak, Q1, ACS Journal of Physical Chemistry A, selepas 2 tahun. Azura pun selepas 2 tahun. Nick Muhammad Azrin, lepas 2 tahun juga. Hazima dan Norasima dalam satu paper, Materials Bulletin, Materials Technology. So ada beberapa lah. So total saya pernah publish 15, actually 15 and 3 papers is on the way. 3 papers are on the way that will be under review or just submitted. Ada 3 papers lagi. So to summarize untuk motivation ni, average time taken until publish, you tak boleh expect tahun ni dia grad, tahun depan ni publish. Tak boleh. You kena you need to be realistic. Actually I took 2 to 3 years. Of course majorly polish. Kita kena polish, revise the data, revise the figure by us, by ourselves, and we need to aim high. That's why itu lambat sikit. Itu strategi saya lah. Sebab duit cash tak banyak. Nak publish yang berbayar ni. Dan kemudian yang bayarnya kebanyakannya predatory journal. Itu kita takut tu. So main strategy, you need to strategize and plan carefully with your PSM students starting from week 1, PSM 1. Kalau ada 2 semesters, you need to starting from week 1. So kita dah week 5. Kita dah week 5. What have you been doing? Apa yang you dah buat dengan you punya PSM students? Kadang-kadang kita banyak blame students, tapi tengok balik pada diri you sendiri. You dah start bincang dengan you punya students, apa nak kena buat. Kalau PKP straight sampai tahun depan, for example, macam mana you nak ubah experimental pergi pada theoretical analysis, simulation. Tag along your students. Kalau you ada postdoc, master, PhD students, tag along them with your master and PhD projects atau PhD students. Tag along. Contohnya kalau PhD atau master student buat A, B, C, D contents dia, part A could be done by the PSM student. So of course, funding is a bonus lah. Kalau ada funding, kalau ada grant, itu adalah bonus yang sangat besar. Majority of students were low CGPA students. Okay, low CGPA students. So motivate them first. Kalau you dapat A, dia punya implication dia besar, dia punya kredit dia besar, 4 kredit, 6 kredit. So you kena cerita, motivate them. Belanja, makan dan sebagainya. Saya dengan student saya ni working day and night. Dulu saya selalu masuk lab malam. Tapi sekarang dah tak boleh, banyak tekangan. And of course, communication 24 hours. Week pertama saya dah beritahu, communication dengan saya, kadang-kadang 3 pagi saya WhatsApp, saya minta data. So you kena proaktif. Kalau you tak boleh, kalau you letih main tidur awal, tak apa. Esok pagi, bangun pagi, selip mata, terus respon. Email respon, WhatsApp respon dan sebagainya. So total students saya ada 30, publish 18. So actually 60% success rate. Success rate sebenarnya 100%. Tapi success rate in terms of journal ataupun index journal publication. So you boleh target. Start small. Daripada you tak buat apa. Mungkin 10% dulu ataupun 20%, 30%, you gonna ada aim. You gonna target. So of course, you kena buat English proofread. Saya memang tekankan ni sebab kadang-kadang kita confident tapi ada certain technical terms yang kita silap, pengolahan ayat yang silap, structuring, grammatical. Ada banyak, Xavier Workshop, AJE, EDANS, PM proofreading yang Malaysia punya murah. Kita ada KD support, so macam-macam jenis, macam-macam cara. So terpulang. Ada masa kalau paper you 1-2 page, very short article ataupun micro articles, tak payahlah, you boleh fokus sendiri. Tapi kalau more than 30 pages, 10 pages for example, you kena buat English proofread. Sebab this could be a compulsory requirement for journal, for editorial journal. Dia nak tengok, kalau you buat English proofread, you attachkan sijil, you attachkan bukti dan sebagainya, you boleh perkuatkan. You akan lebih confident. Tak saya you try yang tak pernah buat, you try buat, insyaAllah saya lebih confident. Tapi kalau you nak kuat, you kena pergi yang overseas. Tapi mahal, memang mahal. You kena prepare at least RM1,000. Kalau ada grant, Alhamdulillah. Kalau tak ada, mungkin you kena sacrifice sikit. Kadang-kadang saya share dengan student saya. Saya share dengan student even PSM student. Jom kita buat proofread. Kau nak proofread kan? Confident English kau. Chapter 4 confident. Tak confident doktor. Okay, jom kita buat. Tapi saya bagi separuh boleh? Boleh, setuju. Okay, dan buat proofread dan sebagainya. And then number 2 on updating your academic CV. You need to add on info on citations. Orang nak tahu, bos nak tahu, top management nak tahu. Letakkan at least 3 ni. Number 1 Google Scholar, number 2 Scopus, number 3 Web of Science ataupun Researcher ID ataupun lebih dikenali dengan Pablons. Yang review paper tu masuk Pablons yang tu. Satu ni memang ini general lah, buku ada, book chapter ada. Scopus focusing on Scopus index paper. Web of Science focusing on paper yang indexed by Web of Science. So you boleh tengok, nampak menurun lah. Mula 20, Google Scholar 20, action lah. Bukunya Scopus 17 je, tapi Alhamdulillah this among the top in UTeM. Kalau universiti lain, jauh berbeza dengan kita. 17 di UTeM adalah yang tertinggi. Web of Science 14. Okay. So, importantly dekat sini, yang saya selalu amalkan sejak dulu lagi, for the past 10 years time, even though we are M2 member, kita perlu tekankan product innovation, commercialization, project with industry, industrial grant. We need to always benchmark ourselves ataupun yourself with RU members and or highly performing M2 researchers. You tengok, you comparekan you all dengan diorang. Kalau you at the stage of senior lecturer, diorang senior lecturer dah berapa yang index diorang? Grant diorang berapa? Kadang-kadang you cakap you tak ada science department, tak ada science faculty, tapi project you fundamental, project you science project, ataupun more to science as compared to engineering. So you kena always benchmark yourself. So baru you, maknanya kalau jumpa di kalangan member tu macam kurang segan sikit lah. Okay, kurang segan sikit bila you, oh you boleh, okay, aku lebih kurang dia, aku lebih tinggi daripada profesor di RU. So you kena tahu dan sebagainya. Okay, I'll touch on ethics and integrity. So ini important. It is important to increase your visibility, but below are the do's and don'ts. You want to publish in open access, but cost very high. Nowadays 5,000 ringgit easily open access, tapi saya tak suggest number one, walaupun saya letak number one in the list, tapi it is not suggested. Always monitor, always pantau your Google Scholar account. Delete non-related papers. You kena login dulu dengan you punya Google account. Delete non-related papers. Adjust your settings. Weekly checking. Yang ni, ini ethics ni. Very obvious for UTeM scholars. You tengoklah UTeM punya scholars ataupun Universiti Teknikal Malaysia Melaka punya Google Scholar, ramai yang paper dia punya kawan ataupun colleagues dia punya paper masuk sekali, dah tentu orang tu publish dalam Nature Science, dah 30,000 citation. Untung dapat kat dia 30,000. No wonder benda tu berlaku. So ingatkan kawan-kawan semua, pantau selalu Google Scholar account. So CRIM tengok, KCPI tengok, so you kena selalu aware. Always aware with your scopers and researcher ID publish. This is nothing much you can do, tapi you boleh pantau selalu, sentiasa update. So ini yang you boleh update dengan you punya CV. These are tools being monitored by the university and the ministry. So itu why dia tahu kita punya data. They check this scopers dan publish accounts. Okay, ni tolong check selalu. Research dia, careful when uploading your article as there will be copyright issue. Kita boleh pilih atau personal saving ataupun openly you share ataupun you publicize your article. Kita boleh share. Check other researchers profile in your field. In your field ataupun you punya mentor ataupun you punya idola, for example, to compare or ask for benchmarking purpose. Selalu tengok you dekat mana. Jauh lagi lah aku ni profesor. Konon-konon citation 1,000. Tengok profesor dekat UTeM, for example, UNIMED, for example, citation dah 5,000. Alamak, macam mana ni? So you kena fikir. You kena strategize. Macam mana nak buat? Of course, memang betul, kenaikan pangkat tu ada macam-macam tools dan variables. Tapi this is one of the elements yang you kena tengok. Kalau tak nanti kita malu sikit lah. Scientific writing, ni biasalah. Okay, tolong tengok unethical practices, plagiarism. Okay, kita nak high quality scientific publication. We need the public trust. One of the most serious misconduct, dekat UTeM pun ada beberapa case, plagiarism, orang overseas contact, sampai top management malu dan sebagainya. Kalau gunakan data orang, it must be cited, or use whatever software, turning in ke authentication, apa nama lah, to check the content of the similarity. So it is a form, tengok gambar ni it is a form of humiliation to the organisation, to the society and nation. Sekali you buat ni, orang akan ingat sampai bila-bila. Okay, walaupun you naik pangkat dan sebagainya, orang ingat, alah boleh lah dia, kan dia plagiarism. So tak maulah, kita nak elakkan. Humiliation, satu perkara yang memalukan. So last but not least, saya dah 50 minit, ngam-ngam 49 slides lebih kurang. What is the product innovation towards commercialization? Saya nak share on the teaching effective steps, tapi 4 steps yang penting. Yang pertama, you need to work with industry closely, tak kira lah dia kecil. Mungkin mula-mula dia adalah traders ataupun supplier, tapi you boleh kerja dengan dia. Approach yourself, okay. Offer your service. First service tu, you offer your service, technical testing, whatever it is, you gunakan whatever strategi yang you ada, without monetary, tanpa bayaran. You tak percaya, you tanya kita yang menjalankan fungsi TNCPI Prof G. Dia selalu pesan saya pasal benda, pasal perkara ni, about this thing. You offer your service tapi without any monetary. Buat sample testing, buat project report, whatever it is, tapi tanpa bayaran. Dia akan suka nanti. Learn and listen from the society. So what are their problems? You kena faham masalah masyarakat. Air tak bersih, air berbau. Lagi apa? Masalah internet tak cantik, wifi slow. Itu semua society problems lah tu. Makan tak sedap, air tak manis. Itu society problems. You kena faham. Secure your innovation through IP. Secure your innovation through IP for the purpose of income generation and protection. IP penting sebab dia akan membantu dalam menjana pendapatan dan protection of your products. Apply funds. Duk diam je kan, nak commercialize tapi duk diam je, funds tak ada. Macam mana you nak start you punya whatever applied analysis? So divide into fundamental, dibagikan betul-betul, applied, exploration, pre-commercialization and commercialization. So below and the next slides, ada 15 slides actually, example of pitching to get fundings, 15 effective steps. So first one, you need to have a clear project background. Okay, what are the problem statements? What are the society problems? What are the main ataupun go deeper the technical problems? And then you need to zoom in into problem statements. Tadi dah sebut dah. You zoom in pula dalam tu. Ada cerita pasal macam saya ni, saya buat energy device. Orang pakai lead acid batteries. Okay, yang dalam kereta sekarang ni lead acid batteries. Tapi instead of that, guna lithium battery. Kenapa dan sebagainya. That is zooming into problem statements. And then what are the impacts to the country and to the society as well? Apa impacts dia? Selain daripada menjana ekonomi, dia akan membantu in terms of bla 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 bla. Ekonomi biasa kita akan sebut lah. Proof of concepts. You nak apply for commercialization fund. You need to have proof of concepts. Apa yang you dah buat sebelum ni? Apa bukti dah publish ke belum? So apa data yang menunjukkan? What are the materials? What are the results? That are among the proof of concepts. This is the second one. Saya tunjukkan dua jenis saja. Then you need to understand the significance and novelties. Okay, apakah significance dan novelties you punya project ni? Projek saya, first novelty macam ni, second novelty macam ni, third novelty macam ni. So kena ada. Then with reflect to the proof of concept tadi, you need to prove that you are strong in fundamental. You kena prove that you are strong in fundamental. Bukan setakat fundamental and applied analysis, tapi you dah ready untuk commercialization. Paper semua dah publish. Lepas ni saya nak fokus pada large scale, upscaling. So that you boleh fokus kepada commercialization in future, in near future. Okay, provide that you are strong in fundamental. Tunjukkan you expert dalam electrochemical cycling process, charge storage, ion storage dan sebagainya. You need to have a detailed methodology framework. So kalau ada dua big part, you divide them into two. Okay, for example macam saya ni development and optimization. Apa tu electrolyte development, siapa leader dia, ada involvement of international collaborator. So bila dah ada dua ni, apa tu dia combine electrolyte integrated on a solid state, all solid state prismatic cell for example. It must be value for money. Okay, dia mesti memberi hasil pelanggan yang bagus. Okay, kenapa lah, kerana ada reasons. You need to well versed. Kalau you buat prototype, ada device, ada product, you need to be well versed on the regulations and standards. Okay, testing for certifications. Realistic deliverables and outputs. Apa itu prototype you? What are your IPs? Idea of IPs? What are your new or improved process? What is the human expert development of capital development? Relevance to government policies ini biasa, NKEA lah, NKRA, nanotechnology R&D. What's in it for the partners? Apa bagusnya untuk partners, untuk society? Okay. What are the economic and social impacts? Macam saya letakkan, satu untuk medical equipment akan digunakan di pantai hospital Aikro. Satu, of course kita ada discussion dengan mereka lah sebelum gunakan nama mereka ni kan. Backup power in solar system grid application. Saya dah bincangkan dengan Gading Kencana for example. Then cost analysis. This is for one cell for example. Lepas tu ada pula detail on 48 volt cell ataupun module. Berapa harga diperlukan, cost estimation. Kemudian bila you buat mass production, berapa satu cost? 1,000 saja. Then you comparekan dengan commercially available device for example. Orang lain semua 5-6,000, saya punya 1,000 je. Murah sangat ni. So you kena approach in terms of costing ataupun cost analysis. So you must have 5 years vision. 5 years vision. Bermula tahun pertama you dapat grant sampai tahun ke-5. Sampailah introduction to market. So we need to back to basic of quadruple helix model. We need to have user-oriented innovations, greater social benefit at the lower cost and improve empowerment of the citizens dan sebagainya. Itu dah patah balik. Dia sentiasa berkait. Tadi ada soalan pasal grant management ataupun journal publication. Memang ada kaitan. So sekali saya discuss lah. Okay, I think tak banyak dah nak habis dah. Saya rasa dah 10.36. Another small notes yang as a professional kadang-kadang kita terlupa ataupun kita miss sedikit. Read your email 3 to 4 to 5 times per day. Respond your email quickly. Respond your WhatsApp quickly. Manage your time wisely. Teaching, including all processes, is always your priority. Jangan lupakan vetting. Jangan lupakan final exam preparation. Respect elders and seniors and management. Ini ditekankan dalam Islam. Ditekankan dalam di mana-mana organisation. Strategize how to deal with supporting staff. Scream tadi, for example. Kadang-kadang dengan faculty members pun you macam mana nak deal dengan sister atau brother ni kan. So kena strategize, fikir. Kalau tak tahu tanya orang, tanya senior dan sebagainya. Stay focused and stay healthy. So itu sahaja daripada saya. Lebih kurang 38 minit. Maaf terlebih masa. Sekian, terima kasih.
Okay, terima kasih Prof Asyadi. Alhamdulillah. It seems that a lot more to be shared. Banyak tadi yang tips-tips tadi. Tak sempat lagi nak di-cover kan? Hari tu kata 1 jam cukup, ni 2 jam.
Itulah bila dapat slide tu dia jadi banyak pula.
Alright, so itu meaning that there's so much. I feel that UTeM needs this. I mean, to learn from the one that have been gone through, and we need more some sort of this sharing session, because tadi ada lagi macam mana nak nak proceed with tips untuk review paper. Belum bagi lagi.
Boleh. Kita buat extra session.
Extra session kan. Lepas tu lain kali ada so many yes, I mean to be achieve your professorship in a very short time. I mean with an excellent work, there should be a dedication and what's to learn to follow, or what are the things that others not to follow as well. We learn from mistakes and so on. Okay, so we have a question from our dear friend PM Dr. Noraiham. Okay, in the chat section regarding QH, how to include or highlight the involvement of society and community in fundamental grant application.
Okay. Actually, kalau if you look into grant ataupun guideline for grant proposal, like KPT, like UAS KPT, dia sentiasa menekankan transnational research. Kalau you perasan, actually kita kena letakkan elemen society, for example. Funding memang daripada mereka lah, public agency. So in the context of end users, for example, kadang-kadang that's why sekarang ni kalau you perasan dah ada patent search. So dia dah ada macam mana you nak menjana bisnes, boleh jana bisnes through IT ataupun tidak. Dan at the same time untuk society ataupun community, for example, kita kena letakkan actually untuk all that elements in the research introduction ataupun in research background. Sebenarnya you kena ada, cuma you tak tekankan sangat. So fundamental wise, you kena tekankan on problem statement. You nak tackle problem statement of fundamental issues. Tapi ada cerita tentang the contribution to the society, right? Sama juga dengan the contribution to the businesses dan sebagainya. So kena play around with those elements. Of course, methodology, whatever budget semuanya must be related to the fundamental concepts. Itu saja pendapat saya lah. Okay, PM Jariah. Kalau macam ni lah sebab masa ni, nanti kalau ada soalan lain, saya akan jawab di bahagian chat, ruangan chat. Boleh PM Jariah ataupun pengurusi majlis. Kalau ada soalan yang kritikal macam Dr. Amin ada bagi dan sebagainya, saya akan jawab dalam ruangan chat tadi. Sebab kita nak bagi laluan kepada Dr. Riduan, dia dah tunggu daripada pagi tadi. PM Jariah tengah tulis paper ni, bagus. mana PM Jariah tadi So saya tambah sikit lah, saya tambah sikit elements of how do you plan your time wisely ataupun smartly. Saya sebenarnya kalau siang daripada 8 pagi sampai 5 petang for example, saya tak boleh fokus on saya boleh fokus on grant management, saya tak boleh fokus on journal publication. So waktu saya fokus journal publication waktu malam, saya lah tengok orang, depends. Saya akan start lepas isyak, paling awal 9.30, saya akan habis 1 pagi 2 pagi. So kalau pagi jumpa saya mata merah tu faham sendiri lah. So saya akan start malam, saya buat malam. Siang saya akan fokus pada teaching and learning. Buat slides, buat soalan dan sebagainya, rating process, conduct questionnaires, create questions. Lepas tu grant management. Sebab apa grant management? Sebab saya akan jumpa saya punya team. Saya akan jumpa project members, students dan sebagainya. So, dua ni yang saya fokus pada siang. Okay, PM Jariah, back to you.
Okay, boleh dengar tak dia? Boleh kan? Okay,
boleh.
kita ada Dr. Riduan sedang tunggu. Okay, tapi saya minta permission daripada Dr. Riduan untuk habiskan satu soalan ni. Soalan daripada Dr. Liu Pejun. Normally, for the PSM student, their result are few. How to publish in high impact journal? Is it combined with the result from master or PhD students?
Okay, very good question. Itu memang biasa. Apatah lagi dalam musim PKP ni, very common ataupun general question raised by the researchers. Memang kadang-kadang, especially kalau tak ada PKP pun result tak banyak, sedikit saja. That's why what I've talked just now, what I've discussed just now, you tag along with your master and PhD students ataupun master and PhD projects. Okay, so yang penting nombor satu, PSM dapat publish paper. Secondly, you punya master dapat KPI, PhD student dapat KPI. So tag along. Kadang-kadang mungkin result dia sedikit, tapi elaboration dia menyebabkan dia jadi banyak. Contohnya, you ada 2 figure sahaja from the PSM result, kan? Tapi daripada 2 result ni, you boleh produce another 2 or 3 figures. Mechanism, schematic illustration, experimental punya figures dan sebagainya. You boleh perbanyakkan dia punya results. So tag along with seniors ataupun senior members ataupun master or PhD student. So in that sense, tak semestinya PSM student you first author. So you letaklah first author you master atau PhD student. So mereka pun dapat KPI, Scopus Index dan sebagainya. Itu salah satu cara lah. Ada cara-cara lain yang saya akan terangkan di talk saya yang seterusnya. Last sikit.
Okay. Lepas ni buat YouTube channel. YouTube channel. Okay, last before we invite Dr. Riduan, PM Dr. Fahmi ni tanya bagaimana tips untuk mendapatkan pelajar?
Okay. Dr. Fahmi pun tanya, Dr. Amin pun tanya tadi kot. Saya dah ada team. Saya ada PSM student, saya ada tak ramai pun student saya. Sekarang ni running master seorang, PhD seorang. Saya ada postdoc seorang. Jadi strategi dia yang pertama, nak atau suka ataupun tidak, saya pernah buat, saya buat iklan. Okay, ni simple method. Buat iklan dalam satu kertas A4, chop dan sign, saya tampal di setiap fakulti di UTeM. Itu number 1. Number 2, use social media. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram for example, gunakan ini. Saya pernah, tapi yang kalau nak tahu pengalaman saya, bila saya letak dekat Facebook ni, ada lebih kurang 10 ke 20 orang yang approach saya. Padahal saya tak ada grant tau. Saya with the idea of saya akan dapat grant satu hari nanti. Saya cuba market saya. Bila Facebook, I would say 20 orang approach saya. International and local students. Kemudian saya letak dekat LinkedIn ataupun LinkedIn. Kalau tak ada account, you buka. Untuk profesional, kita kena ada account tu. LinkedIn, bila masuk dalam tu, saya ada lebih daripada 1000 views ataupun 1000 orang yang tengok. Dan more than 100 proposals came from international students only. Domestic or local student tak ramai. International student ramai sangat yang approach saya. Pakistan, India, Iran ada, Mesir ada, even orang Malaysia pun of course ramai. So itu cara-caranya. So tapi you guna detail betul-betul Tolong detail betul-betul you punya. Apa yang you nak, apa advantages, apa student dapat. Kalau ada allowance, nyatakan ada allowance. Kalau ada allowance, nyatakan berapa. Kalau tak nak nyatakan, tak ada masalah. Boleh. Tapi kena strategize macam mana you want to attract the students to come. Kita ada masalah. Contohnya sekarang ni is a good time. Sebab orang tak dapat kerja. Students tak ada kerja. So kalau you boleh focus on how to pay the allowance monthly, dengan juga yuran yuran yang kadang-kadang kena bayar sendiri ni. Kalau you boleh fokus ataupun tackle untuk 2 items ni, insyaAllah akan ada student datang. So you start. FTK very big market, very high potential market. FTK kita ramai students. Dan ramai students yang ada hasrat untuk further study. There are among the tips ataupun yang saya boleh share lah. Okay, terima kasih Tuan Jariah.
Alright. Terima kasih. Okay. Thank you Prof Asyadi for the sharing. Unfortunately, our slot is very limited, and I believe everyone have become so excited and interested. So please do liaise with Prof Asyadi in person as well to get more share tips and strategies. Okay, without I'm very sorry to Dr. Riduan. Dr. Riduan, can we test your mic please?
Okay, Doktor. Dengar tak?
Okay, Alhamdulillah dengar clearly. Dr. Riduan, sorry ya lambat sikit.
Tak apa. Saya tak
Alright.
patah pun.
Okay, tak apa.
Boleh
Ada impromptu tu yang banyak tu. Alright, okay. So we are moving to our second session. The second session is going to be shared by our young doctorates, but having a very big potential. Kita semua pun tak sampai kat situ lagi, dia dah sampai dah. Inilah Dr. Mohamad Riduan Ahmad. Okay. So we hear about Dr. Mohamad Riduan Ahmad works sampai kat sampai dekat Antartika. So itu yang faktor lightning tu. Hebat sampai terpancar-pancar aura dia untuk semua warga UTeM insya-Allah. So let me introduce Dr. Mohamad Riduan walaupun tak sempat nak berjumpa sangat as I know Prof Asyadi earlier because we are in our department, tapi Dr. Riduan ni jarang dapat bersemuka. Dr. Riduan Ahmad is from Fakulti Kejuruteraan Elektronik and Kejuruteraan Komputer, received his PhD from Uppsala University in 2014. He has his master's degree from University of Wollongong in 2009 and Sarjana Kepujian Bachelor Honours from UTeM. So his field of interest is wireless communication, electromagnetic signal processing and lightning physics. And the one that Dr. Riduan will be sharing is his experience in conducting research by QH model Antarctica project. Okay, let us hear from Dr. Riduan on how QH is implemented in his research. Alright, to you Dr. Riduan.
Okay, thank you Dr. Jariah. Okay, so basically for this presentation, I will share about our research group experience, okay. And thanks to Prof Asyadi, okay, he cut everything, basically explained everything about the concept and the quadrupole helix model. So I will basically, I will not repeat that. So my slide basically is not too long, okay. So I will just share about our experience, and this is like I'm still a new researcher basically. So I hope that we can share our experience in our group, and then we can get feedbacks and also interaction with other researchers in UTeM, inshallah. Okay. So basically, quadrupole helix model is quite new to me also actually. Maybe I heard it about for the past 2 years, but I didn't really go into it actually. But when we want to apply for grants nowadays, you need to know about this basically quadrupole helix model. So whether you want or you don't want, okay, for the next grant application, we need to know and we need to really comprehend what is quadrupole helix model and how we can use this basically or apply this in our grant application. So I hope my presentation will be fun, okay, not so boring. All of you can see my slide, right? Boleh, Doctor? Okay. So as an introduction, okay, this is a good platform to promote our group, basically. Our still small group, okay, hopefully will be promoted to much larger at high stage, okay. So I will introduce about our group, Thor Lab. And basically, I will share with you about our international research work collaboration. We have a few international research work, but for this session, I will just share only two. One is basically the Antarctica project with many parties, basically. And another one is with mainly with China on the trigger lining project. So I will explain that. And then lastly, I will try to present how basically the Antarctica project is fitting into the quadrupole helix model. Okay, so our group, Atmospheric Aligning Research Lab, or also known as THOR Lab, basically established in 2015 after I get back from PhD. So far, we have a few staff, not really organized into official group, but we are working together since 2015. We have our own Facebook page at UTeM Lightning. Okay, if you like, you can follow. Even though it's quite slow progress. Okay, and so far since 2014, we have published many journals, but this is the main one. In Q1 and Q2, we managed to publish in 9 Q1 journals and 6 Q2 journals. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so I think we are in the right track. In the correct track, so to contribute more to UTeM and to our country as a academia. And this is the visit from Prof Raha and Prof Zo to our lab in January 2020. So basically we get a good response from them. And actually at that time I was in Antarctica. So this is the picture with the UTeM flag. In front of the building. So this is basically the station, the Korean station that I attached for more than 1 month there. And okay, so now we go to the international project. So this project is basically, we can categorize as interdisciplinary research project that involves many parties, okay? I will show you the later, the QH model on this, okay, but as introduction, so this project involves many teams and many disciplines. So for the Lightning group, and even in Lightning group, there are many focus areas. Okay, we have the electricity, we have the meteorology on the Lightning part. So this team basically consists of, from UTeM, and also we have from China group, USTC, Uppsala University from Sweden, and also from MIT, USA. And we are focusing more on the electromagnetics study and also on the modeling part. So the modeling basically done by Uppsala University, UTeM, and basically MIT. We have also teams working on the upper atmosphere, atmospheric and TEC. Okay, this is covered by UKM. And for the upper atmosphere and meteorology team, basically covered by Korea, the COPRI, Korean Polar Research Institute, and NAG, National Antarctic Research Center in UN. Okay. So this, as you can see that this project is quite a big project. It's not, UTeM is one of the member of this project, but Alhamdulillah, basically we are leading this group, okay, because we want to study the lightning activity in Antarctica and how basically it relates to the so-called global warming phenomena, okay, as in the large scale. And basically, we started to implement or to deploy the sensor in January this year, and we managed to capture the electromagnetic fields, the electric field and magnetic fields. And then now we are doing the analysis, and then we can do the plotting. So you can see on the right-hand side, okay, the dot, the red dot is basically the locations of the lightning in Antarctica. Okay, but this is only like, I think, 10 samples. I will show you later that we have many lightning activity actually in Antarctica. Okay, so to share with you some pictures, okay, because this is quite rare actually, it's very difficult to get. So I tried to take some I mean, as many as possible pictures. Okay, so you can see the penguins, the sea lion, the iceberg, the glaciers. And this is the researchers that basically attached there. The Korean researchers, and also there are foreigner researchers from European countries. Okay. And for the second international project that I want to share with you, basically is about the trigger lightning. And this project is quite interesting, that involves microwave engineering discipline and the lightning physics community. So this is quite two different area basically. But now we want to study microwave radiation that emitted by the lightning. Okay, so we need to take the microwave, engineer expertise into the group, into the lightning group, and then we design our own. Basically, if you can see there on the right, on the left hand side, we design our own antenna, the radio system, okay, synchronous with the lightning sensor. And this group also is a combination of multiple parties from China, from Spain, from US, okay. From Malaysia, basically only UTeM involved in this project. And so this is one of the scene when we do the lightning, the trigger lightning experiment there. Okay, you can see that. Okay. What we call is trigger lightning. Basically, this is like a control lab, outdoor lab, that we triggered our own lightning, but by attracting the charges inside the cloud, basically. And okay, and this project is very important because sorry, I want to try to stop it. Okay. Why this project is very important? Because the facility for trigger lightning is very rare actually. Even in Asia, we have only 3 sites. Okay, 2 in China, 1 in Japan. Okay, and the cost to build it and to maintain it is very expensive. That's why in research you have to do collaboration with many parties. Okay, national or international. You have to have a good communication, and also have to basically, as Prof Asyadi said, you have to, sometimes you have to show off your expertise. Okay, so people can have confidence in you, and then they want to collaborate with you. Okay, so like this, basically we have full access, alhamdulillah, and not so many have access to this facility, especially from China. And I want to share also the result that we get. Okay, and we analyze the result. Okay, this is basically the waveforms that we get, and we presented it in a proper way, in a mapping. Okay, as mentioned by Prof Asyadi, like when you want to present your results in and you want to publish in Q1 and Q2 journals, okay, don't publish raw data, or not really good data, or the data is not really organized. You have to translate your waveforms or your data into a proper way. Like if you see on the right hand side, okay. So this one we managed to publish in Q1 journal. Okay, so this is easier for the reviewers and for the readers to appreciate your work. Okay, that's it. Okay, so I'm done with the sharing of our project. Okay, and okay, the main objective of this talk is basically how the quadrupole helix model fitting into our project. Okay, particularly the Antarctica project. So as you know that quadrupole helix model is not really well established. Okay, the 3 parts, okay, coming from the triple helix model, the government, academia, and industry, that's the fixed part. That's already accepted. But for the community, basically there are many discussions whether how basically it impacts the community or the people. Okay, so some basically, so I basically inserted environment, because that environment basically directly also the people. Okay, so in this project we tackle the environment problem. Okay, but if you see, it's not really we don't have people involvement in our project, but we tackle the environment problem that will impact the people directly. So that's how we formulate the quadrupole helix model in this project. So for the academia, okay, we have many parties basically that I explained already. UTeM, we have the National Antarctic Research Center from Okay, we have quite good relationship with them. Also, we have a good relationship with UKM. And for the international partner, we have 3 partners from China, from Sweden, and from USA. Sweden basically with my former supervisor, my PhD supervisor. USA also my former supervisor when I did my postdoc there. And China basically my friend, my PhD friend actually. We met in conference in 2014, I think. And then we would develop our relationship from there. Okay, we exchange basically thoughts first, ideas. We published paper together, and then he came to Malaysia to visit me, and then I went to China to visit him. So it's a long, long time relationship since 2014 until we reach this level with good, very strong relationship and confidence. Okay, to trust each other and then to share, our data each other. Okay, so this is very important also in research. Try to build your networking. Okay, and it's not one night relationship. Okay, so you need to develop the relationship with your partners, the collaboration, the research partners, and it will take years. Okay, to gain the trust. Okay, because it's not easy to share something, to share the equipment, to share the facility. It's not just in one night, relationship. Okay, so you have to learn how to do that, and it's very important. This is my experience actually. Okay? And okay, for the government, okay, this project is supported by mostly by the Korean government, mostly. Okay, but mostly has its food also, but it's like a rubber stamp. Okay, it's not really money or something like that. Okay, because to apply for Antarctica expedition, we need to go through mostly to get the approval. Okay, but the funding mostly coming from the Korean government. Okay, and the Korean government basically provide that funding through COPRI, Korean Polar Research Institute. So COPRI is not really government agency. It's half-half. We call. It's not really GLC, but it's not fully government, not fully industry. So I put it under industry. So they provide all the commercial part, okay, for the Antarctica project or the polar project in Korea. So they provide the funding, almost 50K, okay, with everything, okay, the logistic, the support, even they bought me the clothes, the shoes, everything they provide. Preparation to go to Antarctica. Okay, even the safety course, everything. Okay, almost everything. Basically, they support my expedition to Antarctica. Okay, and also we get funding, but this is through UKM. Okay, they got funding. We formulate a research grant, UTeM and UKM, and we apply to the YPASM, Yayasan Penyelidikan Antartika Sultan Mizan. Okay, and they provide 140K, and YPASM is also like almost like industry, but also they're acting as NGO in promoting the polar research in Malaysia. Okay, and they work closely with NRC now in Okay. So we get funding from them, but this funding is not directly to UTeM, but to UKM, because UKM is the project leader. But there is some portion of that money basically goes to us lah. Okay, to buy something, to develop the sensor, everything. So that's one, and also to fund our travel for conference, to publish journal. Okay, so this is a quite good smart what we call smart partnership with UKM. So to share the research experience. Okay, one thing that I always mention, don't be kedekut. Okay, the term lah. Sometimes I know that when I start my research, okay, I am still still in the middle of my research journey. So when I start my research early, like maybe 5 years back, I have this feeling that I don't want to share what I have with other researchers. Okay, so it's like, oh, this is mine. Okay, I shouldn't share it. Okay, why I should share it with other people? Actually, that feeling is not right. Actually, okay. When I want to apply for grant, okay, so I want always to be like the project leader, but it's not good actually. You have in research, you have to have a good team, you have to create good networking, and you have to learn how to share. Because the most important thing is you want to contribute to the community, okay, to the country. That's the main goal. Okay, it's not about you, it's about the people, it's about the environment, it's about the country. That's the main goal, basically. So in the research, you have to have win-win situation, how you basically coordinate that. So all your team members and other parties in your research collaboration will get win-win, benefits, okay? All right, then the last part, okay, or the last helix component is the community or environment. Okay, so in this case, basically we focusing on the climate change and global warming. Okay, so how it relates to lightning, I will explain later. Okay, but this is basically the model for the Quadrupule helix model for our Antarctica project. So I want to show you something about the climate change.
The South Pole, which is considered to be the coldest place on Earth, has now warmed up more than 3 times the global rate in the last 30 years or so. The findings made in a study have now alarmed scientists across the world. Experts are now worried that human-driven climate change has been playing a bigger role than expected in Antarctica. While the effects of global warming in Antarctica have been assessed in various reports, studies on the rising temperatures in the continent, including the region of South Pole, are relatively recent. In fact, research South Pole, which is considered to be the coldest place on Earth, has now warmed up more than 3 times the global rate in the last 30 years or so. The findings made in a study have now alarmed scientists across the world. Experts are now worried that human-driven climate change has been playing a bigger role than expected in Antarctica. While the effects of global warming in Antarctica have been assessed in various reports, studies on the rising temperatures in the continent, including the region of South Pole, are relatively recent. In fact, researchers say that the South Pole warming rate was 7 times higher than the overall average for Antarctica. Experts blame natural causes as well as human-driven climate change for this. The South Pole warming is partly connected to naturally rising temperatures in the tropical Western Pacific, which has been propelled southward by cyclones or the Antarctic coast. But that pattern needs to be a part of a multi-decade natural process, explaining only some of the warming trends. The rest, the researchers say, was due to the emission of greenhouse gases. Development has sparked fears of further increase in the water level of oceans across the world. However, experts have said that the South Pole is not yet in any danger of melting and can be saved if the world wakes up. Global issues of climate change.
Okay, so basically the main goal, okay, is to investigate and to relate the lightning activity with the global warming. So global warming is phenomenon actually. Okay, but I think there is another side of the story that some people believe that global warming is a hoax. Not true. So the picture on the left hand side is taken by me in basically when I was there in January 2020. As you can see that we have the ice, I mean on the other side, okay. But on the closest side to me, basically we have many. It's not trees actually. It's like I don't know in English. I mean, like a pokok rene, in Malay, pokok rene. So this green, and this is not common actually. For the past 30 years, it's difficult to see something like this. Okay.
What's going on way up north. I've always wanted to tell the story of what's going on.
So I will share some videos on this.
From this part of the world makes the archive that much more powerful. The peninsula is one of the fastest warming places in the world. The year-round temperatures at Mohd Station are up 5 degrees on average. 5 degrees is a warm increase in warming. That's a big story. The glaciers give us a chance to bring that story to life.
Okay, so I mean, later you can continue to see to watch the video. Okay, I will share the slide later. But the main thing is basically in Antarctica, okay, the temperature increased almost 5 degrees, okay, since the past decade. And when I was there in January, it was summer, okay, and usually in summer, for the past decades, the temperature below 0 degrees, that means minus something, okay. But nowadays, okay, they have average temperature around 3 to 4 degrees. So that's basically like almost 5 degrees increase in the temperature in Antarctica. That's why we have more greener scenery in Antarctica, and the sea is become warmer. Okay, the land also becomes warmer. So this is what we can see is a direct effect of global warming. Okay. And so if we see in the context of our country, okay, what is the impact of global warming? Okay. So one is the sea level rise. Okay. As predicted in 2050, we have like a 6 meter. Okay. So if you see 6 meter increase, okay, that's 0. This is common. Okay. So if you see now, okay, many parts at the coastal area will be under sea level. Okay. This is in 2050. So also you can see the Sumatra island also, many parts are basically will be under sea level. So this is very crucial, and this is very, important issue, critical issue for the country. And also I think nowadays it's very common to see the small tornadoes. They call it land spout or the water spout. I think previously, maybe 10 years back, we don't hear about this phenomena, right? The small tornadoes or something like this. And this is very close. Like 10 years back, if people see this, I think they will report it. But this is common, within these several years. So this is in Penang. Okay, so you can see how big is it. Okay, so this is still small tornado by definition. Okay, but hopefully it will not grow, into big tornado, and then we will have a big disaster. Okay. And very close to us in Malacca, hujan batu, hailstorm.
Jadi sekitar pukul 3.30 pagi itu membalikkan penduduk di beberapa buah kampung dan taman perumahan di kawasan berkenaan. Pun dari kalangan Juoi dilaporkan. Rakaman amatur melalui telefon bimbit menunjukkan kejadian ibu yang berlaku mengakibatkan kerosakan teruk beberapa buah kediaman, termasuk bumbung diterbangkan angin beberapa meter. Pun juga mengakibatkan banyak pokok tumbang di atas jalan raya dan menyebabkan kehilangan tiang listrik patah, mengakibatkan bekalan listrik terputus di beberapa kawasan. Penduduk setempat yang terlibat mendakwa fenomena hujan batu berlaku 30 minit lebih dengan angin kencang dan ribut yang mengakibatkan kerosakan harta benda. Masih terkejut dengan apa yang berlaku, penduduk yang ditemui mengucapkannya sebagai insiden terburuk pernah melanda Vietnam.
Okay, and then basically we experienced the latest one on 11 August. I think all of us still remember this storm. All right. So basically, so the project is to investigate, okay, the global warming phenomena in Antarctica. I mean, how it relates with lightning and how, okay, we know that global warming is evidence already from the increasing temperature in Antarctica, okay, almost 5 degrees, okay. And then basically how lightning is related to Antarctica. Why, I mean, why lightning? Okay. So when I proposed this project to COPRI, okay, the Korean partner, at first they didn't believe that we have lightning. So even though they accepted my proposal, they gave the money. So in the first stage, I went there. I went to Incheon, to their headquarters for almost 3 weeks for discussion, for the safety, for the health. Checking everything. Okay, but then we had a discussion, and then they told me that they didn't believe there's lightning in Antarctica, because they said, there's one scientist. Okay, so he has been going to Antarctica every year for expedition, and he told me that he never see any lightning in Antarctica, okay, for the past 30 years. So he didn't believe that. The top management also quite skeptical with this project. Okay, but the reason why they accepted my proposal, because they see that the effect of global warming might basically increase the lightning activity, or basically provide some suitable condition or conducive condition for the lightning to happen. Okay, not really close to the station, but I mean in the Antarctica continent, because it's quite big. Okay, so when we see the weather condition in Antarctica, okay, it is dry and extreme for weather. So it's not suitable for lightning initiation, not like Malaysia, our country. We have a hot, humid weather. And also the cloud top, I will show you later in the video. The cloud top is too low. This cloud top, when you see the cloud, in Tropica, okay, it's quite big, right? And the top of that cloud, usually in Malaysia, between 15 to 16 kilometers. And it can reach up to 20 kilometers. And based on our experience in Sweden, the cloud top is between 10 to 12 kilometers. But in Antarctica, it is less than 5 kilometers, but most of the time less than 2 kilometers. So cloud top is very important. It's very important factor to initial lightning. Okay, so if the cloud too low, okay, the charges is not enough inside the cloud to produce lightning. So why we have lightning in Antarctica basically? So I want to share you the video that I've taken from my room there. Okay, if you see that cloud, okay, you can see the top, right? And that cloud is very thin, okay. And then this is usually less than 2 kilometers from your eyes, from your experience. Basically, you can tell. So we propose a hypothesis in our proposal, like because of the global warming phenomena, the Antarctica gets hotter, and basically the meteorological conditions become conducive for lightning to happen. So this is related with global warming. And this year, okay, in Antarctica from NASA, they recorded the highest temperature in Antarctica, 18.3 degrees Celsius. Okay, this is for this year. I think in February 6. Okay. So, I mean, 18.3 degrees in Antarctica is absurd, actually. It's really rare, and now this is very strong proof that Antarctica is getting warmer and getting warmer. And this is not good, actually. The ice will melt rapidly, and this will increase the rise level, the sea rise level. Okay. And on the left-hand side, basically, this is preliminary data that we have, the flashes or the lightning that we detected since January until July. So you can see here that we have lightning activity almost every day in Antarctica, even during the winter. So this is very interesting to study. So one of my PhD students is working on this, and inshallah we target to publish this in a good journal, maybe scientific report or something. Okay, so before I finish my talk, I want to share the picture, the moment during my stay in Antarctica. This is a dusk dawn moment. You can see that um, the overlapping period between dusk and dawn. So because this is during the summer, there is no really night there. So it stay like this for maybe 2 hours, and then the sun started to rise. Okay, so I think that's all for my talk today. I hope that you enjoyed the sharing, and okay, so I'm open for any questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Riduan. Definitely, you have shared with us examples of QH research, and it will give good impact on the feelings that we are understanding much better about the global warming, and it shows that when research is being done by the QH models, it gives impact to the society, and it makes society much more clearer about what happening in our daily life and how does it affect us. Even the research being done at Antarctica, but it shows that the impact sampai kat maka kan, like ribut tadi sampai apa dekat apa Sungai Udang tadi.
Yang tu Sungai Udang kan, 2016. Hujan batu.
Hujan batu. Okay. So, do we have any question from the participant? Okay, here from Dr. Fahmi, from PM Dr. Fahmi. Very eye-opening, Dr. Riduan. It seems that global warming is inevitable. What is its direct impact to Malaysia, and how we UTeM researcher in other fields could respond? Can you give us some?
Okay. So, okay, thank you, Dr. Fahmi. So I think I presented about the possible, or not actually possible impact, the direct impacts of global warming to Malaysia. We have seen even closest to our home in Malacca. I mean, so the next question is how UTeM researchers can respond to this. I think when we apply grant, there's one theme, right? Like a natural disaster and also the climate change, global warming. So we should take opportunity to address this issue, the global warming issue, and we need to identify the problems. I mean, very close to our home, Malaysia, like sea level rising. The common one that our group is focusing now is the flash flood, banjir kilat. So banjir kilat basically is very common now, even in Malacca also. Biasanya dalam setahun tu akan ada lah 2-3 kali banjir kilat. But the most affected area is I mean urban macam KL lah, KL, Penang, JB. So that's the most affected area lah. So now we are, like our group is focusing on flash flood, but there are other direct impact of global warming also. I mean, such as the sea level rise and also the storms, and also how to provide, let's say, when flood early warning system. That's related with maybe IoT system or the alarm system at the ground. How to provide I mean, early alarms to the users, to the customers, or to the government agencies. That's how we should fit our research now towards community and towards environment. Okay, so it is very important to see, like, don't be comfortable in our comfort zone. Okay, don't see. I mean, research is only in our field, but try to apply the research in our field to other fields or to other topics that will contribute to the community, to the environment, to the country. That's the ultimate goal.
Okay, so it will give us some thoughts on how to align. Thank you. To align our research to the problem that we are facing related to global warming. There's another question from Prof. Asyadi itself. Simple non-technical question. How should we strategize to have a good connection to renowned researchers all over the world, including MIT, for example? So, based on your experience, how do you initiate all this?
Okay, thank you, Prof. Asyadi, for that quite a non-technical but difficult question. Okay, so how to strategize to have a good connection? Okay, so maybe I will share how basically I connected to my former supervisor in MIT when I was in my last year of my PhD, 2014. So I went to US for a conference. And before that, basically, I started to find, my supervisor for postdoc. Okay, so I could start to communicate with this prof, okay, from MIT, and we had an email discussion, everything. And then after we meet in the middle, I think May or June 2014, so we had serious discussion. Okay, like almost 3 hours on the topic that what we want to do for our postdoc. Okay? So after that, it continued quite well, progressed very well until I started my postdoc in MIT. So okay, that's one part. Okay. But I think the most important part, how to strategize, is one, you have to have goals basically. Okay, is you have to try to get connected to the renowned researchers from good universities. I think that's very important. This is like a validation for your work. Okay. So maybe MIT or Oxford or Cambridge or something like that. So, but still within our field. Okay, that's one thing. The second, you get connected. Okay, you have to have your own confidence in your knowledge and your work. Okay, so that's also one thing. So after your confidence with your knowledge, everything. So I think if most of us basically we are very professed in our field. Okay, so you have to start that communication. Okay, email and then communicate. Okay, and then you have to make sure when you share the knowledge, when you share the proposal, that proposal is up to the level of that professor. That's very important. That's my experience of how you strategize. Okay, because there are some people that communicate with me. They try to communicate with MIT professors, but they didn't get connected. So when you communicate, they didn't reply your email or something like that. So it's important when you email for the first time, you provide some credential of your work or something like that for them to interested in your work and start to communicate with you. I think that's the main part, the most important part. After you get connected, then I think it will be okay, inshallah. And try to challenge yourself. So my 1 year period in MIT is not really, I thought that it's like a honeymoon after PhD. But my experience, it was like another PhD. So you have to challenge yourself. We had basically progress meeting every Monday. It's like more than 5 hours meeting every Monday with my supervisor in MIT. So yeah, you can feel your head. Okay, so but that's take it positive and then challenge yourself, and then I think that will basically have a good relationship. Okay, and even until even until now, I'm still maintaining the relationship with my supervisor in MIT. We have a good relationship. Also, he introduced me to other researchers in NASA and then to others. So that's will open your networking opportunity basically. Okay? I hope that small sharing will help you. Thank you for the question.
All right. To sum up you're sharing just now. Firstly, it started from your from your supervisors, and then in a conference, and then you get connected to renowned researchers, and then everything started from there. InsyaAllah, Prof. Asyadi is going to do that next. Yeah. Okay. Another quick question from Dr. Nurul Akmal. Once you have proved that this is related to the research that you conducted. Once you prove the hypothesis other than validating the global warming is getting serious, what other claims can you make?
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Nurul Akmal. Okay. For this stage, the main objectives of the project is to validate that the global warming is true, and we will have a correlation between the lightning activity and the warming of the Antarctica ocean surface and also the land surface and the meteorological conditions. So that's basically the main target. Okay, but this is a good question. What's next, basically? So when we have this clear proof, okay, so we can use this, okay, to a global as a guide, okay, as a recommendation to a global community, scientists, and even government to make more stronger policies. Okay, so like now we have a prediction like in 2050 we will have this 1 degrees or 2 degrees increase of the temperature. We will have like 6-meter increase of the sea level. Okay, but that's basically based on the current finding. But I mean, consequently, basically, we from our research, we want to provide more accurate reading of that. Okay, so that can be input to the policies that will be made by the governments. Okay, so that's another part. Okay, but as a researchers, okay, we know that global warming is getting serious. Can we? Okay, another question is: can we reverse global warming? Based on the most popular opinion, and this is almost agreed by all researchers, global warming cannot be reversed anymore. So that means we have to embrace it. So as a researcher, how do we have to embrace it? Why provide a mechanism to save the people and the environment? Let's say for the sea level rise, so how basically we can save the people that living in the coastal area? That's we need to think how, okay? Because can we prevent it? No, but how we can save the people? Is it by moving them to the higher area, or? But that will create another issue also, the land, and also so that's the issues, the problems that we need to tackle later. Okay, so it's a big issue, it's a big area, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary issue. So I mean, all of us can have our own chance to investigate this problem. Yes, true, Dr. Akmal.
All right. All right. So here there's a very good direction indeed and a very kind of high impact research. Congrats, Dr. Antim. Okay. Alhamdulillah, it's already 11:35. Prof. Asyadi, Dr. Mohd Riduan, and all participants, as well as CAES team, we have almost completed our webinar. As we can see in the screen, adapting quadrupule. Okay, so there's a spelling mistake over there. Baru just this morning we realized. Okay, it's supposed to be PLE, Quadrupule Helix model in implementing research at UTeM. So the aim, I believe, with the tools sharing and also the discussion that we have during this webinar, we already much more understand and being motivated to implement QH model in implementing our research. Prof. Asyadi has shared with us how is the government, industry, academia, and society linkage through his research in lithium-ion battery that included by and implemented by various type of grants. And inshallah, one day we will see that the lithium battery developed by Prof. Asyadi and team will be able to be utilized in our society. Another good sharing, we really appreciate the sharing by Dr. Mohamad Riduan, where again we have seen how the QH model research being implemented from the interlinkage of government, industry, academic and society, trying to understand the lightning phenomena in Antarctica, where it gives impacts to the whole society at large, I mean the whole world on the global impact, and it's open wide to a very small research for us to contribute towards this global phenomena. So I believe that we have also received a very much tips and strategies from both researchers, and we can again revisit the sharing by the link that at CAES website. We have shared the link. Prof. PM Mariam just now have shared the link, and the slides and the slide by Prof. Asyadi and Prof. And Dr. Riduan, inshallah, Prof. to be Dr. Riduan sooner, okay, in our website there. And to all, thank you for participating in this webinar. Thank you, Prof. Asyadi and Dr. Riduan again, and thank you to all CAES team as well for this organizing this webinar. Inshallah, we will meet again later. Just by tomorrow morning, we have a session, the session of our main main role as a researcher, whereas we are going to look at guidelines for development of online examination questions. So these are sharings again by two very experienced professors and associate professors. Our Professor Dr. Zamri Jamaluddin, the Dean of Faculty Manufacturing Engineering, Associate Professor Dr. Hidayat Zainuddin, Director for Center for Strategy, Quality and Risk Management. And these are very crucial as well in the scope of our role as a lecturer. Today we learn about research skills. Tomorrow we are going to polish our skills in a teaching area. So I hope that everybody will join the session tomorrow by 8:30 a.m. It's a compulsory for those who are not attending CAES session, webinar session on 1st June. Okay. With that, I end the session. Thank you all, and see you tomorrow, inshallah.